As evening approached, Bruno wandered away from camp in search of more firewood, so he would not have to collect it during the night. Lithir sardonically called after him to mind his way so he would not get lost. Muttering a mild oath in the elf's general direction, Bruno paused as the wind suddenly shifted to the south and east. A pungent, foul smell entered his nostrils. He cast about for the source of the scent, and noted that the breeze was wafting lightly from the west, carrying other smells from the nearby mountains. He looked up at the nearest hills through a small gap in the forest, but saw nothing. Yet the smell had grown even stronger. "Is it a dead deer or a rabbit den that got drowned in the rains and is now rotting?" he wondered. A thick tree trunk was in front of him, and Bruno paused for a moment, sniffing the air. A sensation of fear came to the forefront of his mind, filling him with a nearly uncontrollable urge to run blindly away. But he stood his ground. Suddenly Bruno felt a warm, fetid breeze from above, accompanied by an even stronger waft of this most detestable odor. Glancing up, he saw that the tree trunk he was standing next to was in fact an enormous leg. Nearly 30 feet above him, he saw the outline of a huge face. "Gods preserve us," muttered Bruno. "A troll or a giant." Both of these creatures hunted deer when they could, but preferred elves, dwarves, or men. Fearing certain death, Bruno saw the leg begin to move, and Bruno reached for his small wood-chopping axe as he bellowed a warning to Lithir. He leapt, swinging the light axe with one extended hand into the meat of the leg, just above the top of an enormous boot. A deep grunt came from above him, and he turned to run back to their campsite. The high-pitched hiss of an arrow whistled above his head, and a hand roughly grabbed him and jerked him backward off his feet. A great roaring howl went up from the tree trunk in front of him, as a great boot with 6-inch spikes crushed the ground where he had been standing a moment ago. "Run!" cried Lithir. "Get your battle-axe from the horse and help me hold this ground." Stunned, Bruno looked up, and a rent in the clouds brought moonlight onto the filthy face of an enormous creature, resembling a humongous human. Its features were blunted and mottled, and a ragged beard hung halfway down its leathery body. Large yellow eyes focused on them as the creature advanced with startling speed for something so massive. Bruno bolted for the horse. Behind him he heard Lithir's bow sing again and again. The hiss of each arrow was followed by the sound of metal impacting dull wood. Retrieving his axe from the terrified horses, Bruno turned to charge and saw that Lithir's cloak had been caught on the spike of a huge descending shoe. The elf stumbled away from the creature, but he was too slow, for a hand grabbed him by one arm and pulled him off the ground. Sprinting to the monster, Bruno rotated his battle-axe over his shoulder, and with all his might jumped as high as he could, and swung, striking the inside leg of the giant just above its ankle and boot. The dwarven axe stuck deep, and black, viscous blood spurted forth as the creature roared in anger and pain. Lithir tumbled to the ground behind him, calling on him to retreat. Bruno did so, narrowly missed by another massive hand that swept down toward him. More arrows hissed overhead, and the creature rumbled in anger. A great whooshing sound filled the air, and the ground trembled beneath them as an enormous club impacted the ground between the elf and the dwarf, knocking them both off their feet. They rolled away, then stood, weapons ready.